Rosa Parks. Fact file. Full name, Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks. Date of birth, February 4th, 1913. Nationality, American. Died October 24th, 2005. Interests, sewing and reading. Worked as a secretary and a seamstress. Famous for refusing to give up her seat to a white man on a bus in 1955. In 1913, she was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, USA. 1932, Rosa marries Raymond Park. 1955, Montgomery bus boycott. 1956, bus segregation ends. 1964, racial segregation ends. 1999, awarded Congressional Gold Medal, one of the highest civilian awards in the USA. And 2000, in 2000, Rosa Parks Museum opens. Difficult lives. Rosa Parks grew up in the southern United States in the early 20th century. At that time, Black and white people lived almost separate lives. In the southern states, the Black, or colored as they were called then, and the white communities were segregated or separated by law. Signs like these show how, almost every part of their lives, Black and white citizens were kept separate. Jim Crow laws. Under the Jim Crow laws, both Black and white people were supposed to be treated equally, but separately. In reality, white people were given the best jobs. White people were given the best jobs in the best schools, while people like Rosa and her family were treated as second-class citizens. Black people were rarely able to vote or earn a decent wage, and they were often the target of racial abuse. Education. Rosa's parents split up when she was little, and Rosa, her mother, and her brother went to live at their grandparents' house. Rosa was taught at home by her mother and didn't go to school until she was 11 years old. She loved school but had to give it up early to care for her grandmother and her mother when they became ill. Rosa went back to school when she was 20 years old to finish her education. Rosa's grandfather taught her to be proud of who she was and to stand up quietly but firmly for her rights. He had been a slave as a boy, and Rosa often saw him ignore the Jim Crow laws. Civil rights. Rosa was only 19 years old when she met and married a barber named Raymond Parks. Raymond was already active in the civil rights movement. He strongly believed that Black people and white people should not be segregated, to be free and equal. NAACP. Rosa and Raymond joined the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, a civil rights group that campaigned against discrimination based on the color of a person's skin. Rosa and Raymond were particularly eager to see all Black people get the right to vote. By being able to vote, Black people could have a say in how the country was run and change its laws for the better. Rosa eventually became secretary of her local NAACP group. NAACP members campaigned for an end to segregation, especially in schools. Take a look at the signs that they're holding. In Montgomery, where Rosa lived, the seats in front of the buses were reserved for white people. Black people had to sit at the back. If the white section was full, the bus driver could order a Black person to give up his or her seat to let a white person sit down. Standing her ground. One night in 1955, Rosa caught the bus home from work as usual. She bought her ticket and then went to the back of the bus and sat in the Black section. The white section of the bus soon filled up, and when a white man had to stand, the bus driver ordered Rosa to give up her seat. Rosa refused. She knew to refuse was against the law, but Rosa believed that it was a bad law. She was tired of being pushed around and always being made to feel second best. The bus driver called the police and Rosa was arrested. Rosa was photographed and fingerprinted by the police before being locked in a cell. Mixed reactions. After her arrest, Rosa's friends and supporters praised her for her bravery in breaking the law. However, many people were also angered by her actions. Rosa lost her job and her privacy, and she suffered racial abuse and even death threats. Like many superheroes, Rosa showed great courage throughout this difficult time. Bus boycott. As a protest against the bus laws and Rosa's arrest, most Black people in Montgomery agreed to stop using the buses. This boycott cost the bus company a lot of money, as most of their customers were Black. Finally, on December 21st, 1956, the Supreme Court in Washington ruled that the buses should no longer be segregated and the boycott ended. For 381 days, most of Montgomery's Black citizens joined in the boycott and walked to work. Did you know Rosa had refused to give up her seat before? It was 12 years earlier, and she only got thrown off the bus that time. From a spark to a flame, Rosa's refusal to give up her seat on the bus was a very important moment in the history of American civil rights. It was the spark that inspired other civil rights protests in America and abroad, which helped bring racial segregation to an end in the United States. A fresh start. Rosa and Raymond eventually moved to Detroit, where they continued to work for the civil rights movement. Rosa began to receive lots of awards for her work. In 2000, a museum telling her life story was opened on the spot where she had been arrested 45 years earlier. Rosa died in 2005 when she was 92 years old. Tens of thousands of people attended her funeral. That is the end of Real Life Superheroes. Please note, we've got a glossary section and we also have an index section, which are text features examples that we have talked about. At this time, please complete your notes and your